the Vikings have confirmed that rookie quarterback JJ McCarthy, a Michigan man, is going to miss the entire season. Not part of the season, not a few games, not half the season, the entire season after having a full meniscus repair. It's in your knee. Now, during Wednesday's practice, after that news came down, wide receiver Jordan Addison went down in a heap with an injury, and they brought the golf cart out to take him away. And then you factor in the annals of Minnesota football. You go to their Pro Football Reference page, and you see the many shanked field goals, missed opportunities in playoff games, the futility, the ineptitude in the Super Bowl. And this has led to a conversation that the unwashed are having that the Minnesota Viking football team is jinxed. So let us discuss. The question, we're just going to keep it simple. It's sports radio. It's not that hard. So the question, are the Vikings cursed? So I've got optometrist, Sleeping Beauty's Castle, and Dolly Parton. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to fill up the rainy day fund is what we're going to do. All right, so to answer the question, are the Vikings cursed? I'm going to shake my head. No, they are not. On the surface, I totally understand why that is a talking point. This has been a Murphy's Law situation for the Vikings. Anything and everything that can go wrong seemingly has happened, in particular the last couple of days or so. However, when you pause, take a couple of steps back, you take a deep breath, I reject that hypothesis that they're cursed. And if you believe that, you're a sucker, right? That the Viking faithful need to visit an optometrist because in this case, this week, you're suffering, and the reason you need to go to an optometrist, you're suffering from myopia, right? A nearsightedness. Not all objects are as they appear. Is it true that the Minnesota football team is actually secretly relieved that they will not be pressured to play rookie quarterback JJ McCarthy? Yeah, they're not playing at all. The initial plan was he would miss a few games, but he's going to be out all year. And you hear the chatter, and how much of this is real, how much of it is just bullcrap. It's up for debate, but they would like him to learn by osmosis rather than on-the-job training. We like baptism by fire. They don't. Plus, if I read this properly, wide receiver Jordan Addison, who went down snap, crackle, pop, it was all for the cameras. He dodged a major injury. The Vikings are saying he's okay. Might miss a day or two, but that's it. All right, now turning the page on that, but staying in Minnesota, Coach Kevin O'Connell was singing the praises of rookie quarterback JJ McCarthy, saying, and I'm going to give you some of the highlights here, he said that the Vikings fan base should be excited. Now, why should they be excited? Because they have their young franchise quarterback in the building. That's a direct quote, young franchise quarterback in the building. O'Connell went on to say this is going to be a small bump in the road. JJ is confirmed to the Viking coach and a lot of other people and players that he's the right guy in the building for the future, close quote. So let's put a bow on this one. Kevin O'Connell, the Viking coach, saying that JJ McCarthy is the Minnesota young franchise quarterback. He's in the building. Your thoughts? So my thought is this is way premature, right? This is like half-cooked pie. It's not quite done yet. And it's also, I just got this Hawk Tua vibe, hype man. And Kevin O'Connell knows if this thing goes to the dark side in Minnesota, there's no guarantee that he's back to even coach J.J. McCarthy. So he's working as a bootlicker for McCarthy, and he's planting the seed. Hey, this is the franchise guy, so if we go out there and ride the vomit comet, remember that because my franchise quarterback's going to be playing next year, not this year. But he was putting on those purple knee pads, and it really was a trip to Sleeping Beauty's Castle. It was Fantasyland. Because while McCarthy looked really good in the 17 pass attempts he had in an exhibition game against the Raiders, where he averaged over 11 yards per pass play, You got to remember, though, this guy at Michigan ended up being a first-round draft pick, and Michigan didn't play him like he was a first-round draft pick. They hid the quarterback. Who does that? Seriously, who in college football, if you have a player that you know is going to be a first-round quarterback, who says, I don't want him to throw the ball that much? He only had 25 or more pass attempts in less than 43% of his career starts at Michigan. He had more games with less than 25 attempts where he was just a decoy, handing the ball off, than throwing the ball. Well, it was the bad weather in the Big Ten. Well, it's not all bad weather in the Big Ten. And I would argue this is more than a small bump in the road. It is. It's historical. JJ McCarthy has become now the first quarterback drafted in the first round in the common draft era. That goes all the way back through the 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, the 70s. It goes back to the late 60s, 1967, the common draft era. So my math is correct on that. We are looking here at close to 60 years. He's the first one to miss his entire rookie season due to injury. Now, there have been players that didn't play as rookies because of contract situations and also just being benched because the old school mindset in the NFL. How dare you play the rookie quarterback? All right, now the last word here. With JJ McCarthy in the infirmary, like the theory is, hey, the Vikings, I believe they wanted this. I think a lot of smart people thought they wanted it. It's official that the quarterback who's going to start is a guy who has been much maligned, who's now going to have to try to climb the mountain. What can we expect from Sam Darnold in Minnesota? So we know what Sam Darnold is. This is not like, I don't know what he's going to be. Sam Darnold has already written his story. He is the Big E. He's an enigma. He's one of these cats. He's got everything in his tool bag, right? All the tools of the trade. Can make all the throws. Scouts go gaga when they watch him throw the ball. But ultimately, given enough time, what is Sam Darnold? Sam Darnold, it's like a Dolly Parton tune. He's a heartbreaker, right? He weaves this magic spell, and there's a lot of low information fans that get all excited and promises that things are going to be great and never end up like that. Never end up, maybe for a little bit. Like, I don't want to be shocked if the Vikings come out of the gates and play pretty well early and Darnold's throwing touchdown passes and everyone's like, well, he's arrived. But eventually, sooner than later, you'll find out that he's just like the guy that he was with the Jets and the Panthers, the other teams he's played for. Better receivers. I'll give you that, right? You can't argue. Nobody has assuming Addis is going to play, he's not hurt, which the Vikings are saying. Nobody's got a better 1-2 punch at wide receiver than that team. So I take them over the Dolphins, who are second, but I would take the Vikings. So they've got better receivers than he's ever had in his career, but that be damned, because we know how the story ends. The Vikings will end up with Sam Darnold. By the time we get to the late season, they will be a ship out on Lake Minnetonka, but not the Love Boat. They will be a ghost ship on that beautiful Lake Minnetonka. That is what they're going to be.